4.
And welcome to the January 19th, 2021 Clark County Fire District 6 Board of Commissioners meeting. And I will call the regular meeting to order, and I will mention for the minutes that Commissioner Collins is not with us tonight. He has an excused absence, so it'll be Commissioners Lasbeck and Pfeiffer. And I'm going to call for any additions to the agenda.
None here.
Okay, and we need to read and approve the minutes of the January 5th regular meeting.
Motion to approve and post as necessary.
Second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Correspondence? Says none. Citizen communication, we always set some time aside at our board meetings in case any citizens from Fire District 6 would like to address the board concerning Fire District 6 manor. If you have a question as we go through, there's a place to type in on the side of the YouTube there, and if questions come up throughout the meeting, we will address those. So feel free to do that if you wish. Committee reports, health and safety.
Normally, the second meeting of the month, we'd have a health and safety report. We haven't gotten, the union hasn't appointed somebody to that position yet, so there was no meeting this month.
Okay. No parade meeting, and there probably won't be a parade this year. Chief Pfeiffer, Risk Management Group, did you have anything?
You bet. The Risk Management Group met on January 6th at 8 a.m. virtually. Let's see. The biggest news of that was the merger of McIlvaney and Associates with Nicholson and Associates Insurance. Gordon McIlvaney, the agent, has consolidated his agency with the Nicholson and Associates, which are located in Centralia. And he spoke to that. There's no claims reports, no activity. The other new business was nominations of the officers for 2021. Myself will be the president, Larry Bartell, vice chair, and the secretary is Tina Bensinger, and Chief Maurer will be the risk manager.
Congratulations.
Yeah, another year. And our next meeting is set for April 7th, 2021.
Good. It's interesting that Gordon merged with Nicholson. That Karen Miltberger was our agent years and years and years ago, and she went with Nicholson. And so now they're both back on board serving us. That's probably a good thing.
Yeah, Commissioner Bartell spoke to that as well. So he anticipates a great transition and the same continued high level of service.
And a polar bear party at conference.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, you bet.
Was there anything Triple FB, Chief, that without Casey here, did you guys have a meeting?
We did have a meeting, and the only thing that we really reported is that WSP had been using some of the dorm space, and they're moved out. So not much happened in Triple FB.
Very good.
Thank you.
Call your attention to the consent agenda, and we need a motion.
Motion to approve.
And I will second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Chief's report.
First thing in the Chief's report is the December overtime report. Total overtime in December was $128,940.71. Most of that was for shift replacement and overtime. The budget performance report, we're tracking where we would anticipate. So we should be tracking at about 8% expended for 6212 and 6242. In 6212, we've expended 5.2%, and in 6242, we've expended 6.1%. And then the COVID-19 update, I haven't gotten a more recent one, but we're getting most of our people are starting on their second dose. When we are done with the whole immunization and vaccine, we think we'll be about 70%. We have about 12 personnel right now that are opting out of the vaccine. So we're hoping to start moving in a different direction with the COVID vaccine.
Yeah, that's
Chief,
great.
did you do Pfizer or Moderna?
We did Pfizer in Washington, and
Okay.
I believe Oregon did Moderna.
Okay.
Is that right?
I'm just wondering. We'll see how this. I know that some people have been having some small complications with the second dose, and we'll see if that affects our personnel when they start getting the second dose. I would assume.
I've heard the same as well.
And I was fortunate to get Moderna today, so we'll see how that works. And yes, my arm's sore. Do you have anything else? Anything else, Chief?
Nothing else.
Thank you. Old business workshop schedule.
So at the last meeting, we talked about starting up workshops again. We tentatively scheduled our first one for the 2nd, which will be year in review and building projects. I slated it for a 5 o'clock start time, but that's flexible. I don't know that it will take the full hour, so that would take scheduling from the board. And then our second workshop, so the second meeting in February, on the 16th, we were planning on doing apparatus replacement plan and the 452 merger, and I had that slated to start at 5:30, but again, that's flexible.
Actually, I have that scheduled to start. Let's see, 5:30, half an hour. You know, my gut feeling is if we start both of them at 5:30, we run over a little bit. What we've done in the past, and make sure that Commissioner Pfeiffer's okay with this, but I think you were with us last year, but we start at 5:30, and if we run over, we just start the regular meeting after that with a break if we need one. We don't want to change our 6 o'clock time, and I don't want to have, discuss for 15 minutes and then just have 15 minutes of dead time. So what I would suggest is we start them both at 5:30. If we get done early, we'll take a short break. If it runs over, we'll just start our regular meeting after the workshop's done.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that sounds great.
Is that okay with you?
Yeah, you bet.
Okay. Let's do that, Chief. Let's do them both at 5:30.
Okay.
Yeah. And we'll go from there. Does that work for you, Chief?
Yes, that does.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very good.
then, at the next meeting, if there's more topics the board would like to see, we can schedule those too.
Okay. Very good. Secretary of the Board compensation. I know your memo said that he said he didn't need any, and of course that's what he would say. And I know 1.3 or 4% doesn't make a lot of difference, but I think we should do something for him to recognize him, and just a dollar amount. What are you comfortable with, Commissioner Pfeiffer? He's at $850 right now.
Yeah, I see what Chief Maurer spelled out in the packet here. It looks like a COLA. Let's see, 1.2%. The board chose to go with the COLA at a $10 increase per month. Is what the chief has spelled out here in the packet. Are you comfortable with that, Commissioner Collins?
He's not with us, but I'm comfortable with that. I think we need to recognize him and give him something. I know that $10 a month isn't a lot, but at least it shows our appreciation. And he said he would. Of course, he said he didn't need one, but I'd be comfortable to going to. You're saying going to 860.
Yeah, I'm just following the language here that the chief has spelled out in the packet.
Well, we can do whatever we want.
It takes it to 860. I honestly, I really haven't put any thought into it. This is the first year that I've been working through the secretary compensation. So, with the base of 850 last year, I just based that number right off of what the chief had included in the packet.
So in the packet, in the packet I gave you a range from cost of living to 3%. So there's a range in there. So it's anywhere from 860 to 3% would be 875.50.
Okay, yeah, I do see that. I do see that. I see here that we don't have. There's no comparable information then available for the second edition. Okay.
But I'm comfortable. He said nothing. I'd be comfortable making a motion to increase Secretary of the Board's compensation from $850 to $860 a month.
Second that.
Okay, moved in second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And Secretary Taylor, thank you very much for your service. You do a lot that we don't see. I know that keeps you busy, and you're still answering a lot of questions. We appreciate it, and it's a small increase, but it's a show of our appreciation to you.
And I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Knox Med Vault purchase. Just an update.
I just wanted to update the board. At the last meeting, you approved 10 units to be purchased at $21,380.82. After meeting with Captain Simica, we realized we only needed 9 units, so it reduced the price to $19,299.54. So just an adjustment to your original approval.
And we appreciate them doing that. Not buying things we don't need. Any questions?
None here.
We are moving on to new business. Engine purchase, or engines purchase, wherever we end up.
So the district is in the process right now of speccing an engine for replacement. In the 2020 strategic plan, we had the apparatus replacement plan in there, and we're going off of years of service and cost of ownership model. So we take into account both those items when we're considering engine replacements. We're behind one engine, so we need to replace. One was scheduled to be replaced in 2020, and one was scheduled to be replaced in 2021. We pushed both those out a year further, but with needing to replace one immediately, I went back into the budget, and we can afford to replace 2 if the board so chooses. By replacing 2 at once, we reduce the time it takes to spec. And we reduce the travel time to Appleton. We get 2 of the same rigs. So staff was looking at purchasing 2 engines. And then I outlined in there how that would be accomplished with the current budget.
Let's see. So the last new fire engine purchases, looking at the strategic plan, were in 2016. Is that right? So those are two are about 5 years old now.
Yeah, they were actually our 2015 models that went online in 2016. Yeah.
Yep. Okay. Do we have any idea yet on cost of these engines that are being spec'd or have been spec'd?
So I estimated the cost at $600,000 per engine.
Okay.
That tracks right about where those 2015s were. We are looking at a smaller model than what we currently have with lower hose beds. And actually, the committee's going out to Portland and Tualatin Valley tomorrow. So we're looking at going really similar with their specs. We also have Dennis Laguerre's coming to help us with that spec, and he's bringing in people that are very familiar with Pierce. And so, and engine specifications in general, not just Pierce. And we're hoping that equates to some cost savings with the spec as well.
Okay.
But I estimated at $600,000 each.
Okay.
So, Chief, what I know some of the money in capital reserve is for remodel of Station 1 and apparatus.
That's correct.
And I just want people to know that are listening or listen later that the board made a decision years ago to pay cash for all of our apparatus, so we don't have to go back to the public every time with a bond that we want new apparatus. And by doing that, we've been able to build up that fund so that we can actually do what we were hoping to do. So every year we put money into that capital reserve for that specific issue. So if we have $300 million in there for the Station 6-1 project next year, and we probably won't start on it until late this year. Hopefully we get to start on it this year. We'll have additional monies in there next year to offset the cost of the remodels. Isn't that true?
We have money set aside in 6212 for the remodeling project as well. So between 6258 and 6212, we have a healthy budget to cover that project.
Okay. So I guess my comment would be, we're getting ready to run 4 engines instead of 3. The engines are getting run hard, and we want to make sure that they start when we need them and that they're safe for our personnel. And when you get 2, the same spec, then the change isn't as great for everybody. If they go from one station to another, depending on the station, it's the same apparatus. And being conservative, we do have the money to get to. I believe that Pierce will give us some sort of a small discount if we order two at once. You can find out from them and let us know. But I would be supportive of that. I think that there's funds for the remodel, and we have a couple years to build that fund back up in case we wish to buy a truck, because that'll be well over $1 million, I'm sure. So I don't have a problem with it, and see what Commissioner Pfeiffer feels about it.
Chief, does it still keep you on track as far as planning for this truck purchase that's highlighted in the strategic plan for 2022?
Yes, it does. So $1 million that was originally scheduled to be transferred into capital reserve from the fire budget was going to cover one engine purchase. If I bump it up to 1.6, that allows me to keep the Station 61 remodel money sitting there. It allows us to purchase two engines, and it still gives me $450,000 to set aside for the next 3 years. And that $450 will give us about $1.3 million. And so in 3 years, we will have the cash reserves to purchase the truck. In addition, that still leaves, even with these two engine purchases, it leaves a balance of $1.2 million in 6258. So that's what the board has required is
right
in that budget. So yes, we're still on track to buy the truck. We're still doing engine replacements. The smaller pickup trucks that we're buying are actually budgeted in the fire budget, so that doesn't even have to come out of this.
Okay.
So we would be on track.
Okay. And Chris, we do try to keep that reserve at a certain level.
Yeah.
If the time comes for a truck and we have to dip into that reserve a little bit, the board would have to take action to do that. But the funds would be there. If we want a truck in 2 years instead of 3, the money's there. We just have to make a motion and figure out how to take that out of capital reserve.
Okay, thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. So moving forward, I guess you need a motion then to move forward with the purchase. Is that right, Chief? Or what?
Once we have to go to bid.
Right.
Once the bids come in, then we make a motion to accept the bid.
Yeah.
She just needs our approval to go forward with specking two engines, or specking with a spec and with the intent of buying two engines.
Okay.
And Secretary Taylor, can you correct me if I'm wrong, please?
I'm sorry, your question was, is that correct? Yes, that's correct what you stated.
Okay, so we just have to give her the green light, but we don't need a motion. The motion will be when we actually accept the bid for him. So,
okay.
But I think that sounds like Commissioner Pfeiffer and I are both in favor of going forward with that plan, Chief.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, that makes great sense, and then that allows Commissioner Collins an opportunity too when we final approval of this. So.
Yeah.
Very
okay.
Good.
And on a side note, Chief Russell and Battalion Chief Baum are in charge of this project. So, and like I said, we are looking at the Tualatin Valley spec. So if there's things you would have done differently, if you can touch base with them too, it'd be great.
Oh, yeah, you bet.
Perfect. And I would assume we have some shift folks on that committee too that are going to drive them. So.
We do, yeah. So
okay.
I can't remember exactly who's all on it, but it's a battalion chief and 4 firefighters. So
Good, excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there any other new business? Hearing none, there's no need for executive session, and we are to roundtable good of order, if anybody has anything.
The only thing I was going to notify the board is we do have our new employees starting February 1st. We're going to swear them in first thing in the morning at 8 a.m. at Station 63. So if any of the board wanted to be present for that, February 1st at 8 a.m.
February 1st at 8 a.m.? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and still social distancing, mask, check-in at the station, all that stuff.
Yeah, you bet.
Just a side note, that's not an official meeting. We aren't going to meet to discuss any business concerning the fire district. We're just going to be there to watch the ceremony, so it's not an official meeting. Just we're all going to be there or potentially be there. So that sounds very good. It'd be nice to put some names to faces. It's getting harder and harder to remember everybody as we add pieces, but yeah. Okay, if I don't hear anything else, we need to authorize January issuance of payroll warrants, authorize January payroll direct deposits, authorize January deposits of federal and FICA med withholding, authorize pre-authorization invoice transmittals, and authorize payment of current bills. And I need a motion, please.
Motion to approve.
And I will second that. Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you very much. Was any questions or comments come in on the chat during that? I don't have my computer open, so.
There's one comment, but I'm not sure it's, it might be an accident that it's on there.
Okay. So with that said, I'm going to adjourn the meeting, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody, for being involved.